Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, and we love to help the well-dressed take care of their wardrobes. Today I'm here with Alex Petrosian.
Hey, my friend.
Petrosian Caviar, and we're going to have a little bit of an impromptu Q&A about caviar. This is going to dovetail the end of our caviar series that you guys have all been watching on our YouTube channel. And so we're just going to go into some of the common questions that we've seen people asking, and really have an opportunity to sit down and speak to those questions in greater detail. So Alex, thank you so much for being here with me. We had an opportunity to go down and actually film a video in the
caviar room.
In the caviar room.
That was amazing.
Actually grading caviar.
Yeah.
Showing the process where
you're helping me on my daily work.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, I know. Well, it's tough work to go in there and be able to sample all those.
It's definitely enjoyable part of the work for sure.
And we're in the middle of a huge refrigerator room. And I wish I had one of those in my office back in Texas.
It's dangerous to have that in your office in Texas. You'll spend more time there than your actual office.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few questions here, and we'll just get started. The first question we've seen asked quite frequently is, what do you eat or drink caviar with?
So I would drink champagne or vodka with caviar. The champagne or the vodka really cleanse your palate within each bite, and it's really enjoyable with the flavor of the caviar. Definitely, if you like stronger alcohol, I would definitely go for a very cold, crisp vodka. And if you're more into bubbles, the champagne goes super well.
What about like a vintage or a non-vintage champagne? Is there any difference there? Because with the vintage champagne, you can really have some yeast flavors and some totally different flavor profile than a nice, crisp, clean, non-vintage champagne.
Personally, I'm a big fan of vintage champagne, and I really truly believe that with caviar it works very well. I think the yeasty accent or the woody part, plays very well on the brininess of the caviar, and it goes very well together.
Do you drink your champagne, your vintage champagne, out of a champagne flute or out of a white wine glass?
My personal preference is the white wine glass, but there's different school, different people. I really believe that enjoying anything, champagne in particular, is the way you like to enjoy it. If you enjoy your champagne in rock glasses, enjoy your champagne the way you want. But it's true, the white wine glass works very well for me.
Yeah. So is a brut champagne more traditional?
With caviar, yes, for sure.
Okay, so you wouldn't drink it with like a rosé.
Well, you could for a caviar that's on the stronger side. You could, but definitely not with a very balanced caviar. The rosé is going to bring too much sweet into it.
What about any type of like dry white wines?
You have to know your white wine fairly well to really match, because you need a white wine that's super dry. I haven't myself find a white wine that works very well with caviar. They all work fine, but it doesn't
match champagne.
It doesn't transcend the experience.
Yeah. Okay. So our second question is, if I'm serving caviar, when or how do I serve it? Is it served alone? Is it served with the meal? When in the meal does it fall?
It kind of depends on your mood. So there's a couple of ways to enjoy caviar. First one is to enjoy it straight out of the tin with your loved one, and in this case you need between, I would say, 30 to 50 grams per person. You want enough caviar to taste enough, but not too much so it doesn't overpower to the rest of the meal. The second way you could enjoy your caviar would be to enjoy it as a cocktail with a little crème fraîche, a little blinis on the start of the evening. In this case, you need between 3 to 5 grams per person. And if you want to, and the third way to serve your caviar would be to serve it with a dish. So top a fish with a little bit of caviar, or top a beautiful baked potato with crème fraîche and caviar. It really depends on your mood. And if you use it into a recipe, you would need 5-7 grams per person.
Yeah. What about, so let's go to, kind of just enjoying it kind of in and by itself. You were sharing with me earlier that, the majority of your customers are probably just, enjoying caviar alone. It can really stand kind of almost by itself.
Most of the recurring client that orders from us every every week, let's say, they're really looking for a standalone caviar, something they can do the whole evening on. You know, that you just need a little blinis or creme fraiche to kind of make it a meal, and it's very enjoyable if you like this type of meal. It's a very enjoyable experience to really open this tin of caviar and share it with your loved one and kind of have the evening goers around it. It's very amazing.
What about you know, how much, you know, if someone was just sharing it alone, you know, 30 to 50 grams is kind of what you were saying?
I mean, you know, it always depends on your personal thing. I mean, if I'm alone, my wife and my kids went away for a little bit and I'm alone at home, I think I would pop open a 125, a little larger tin, and, you know, the remaining of the tin that I don't want to eat, or I would keep on the side for the next morning. Okay. And I would do like a blinis and caviar with breakfast. It's absolutely amazing. And I would go for a larger tin because you don't want to be at the end of the 50 gram and be like, oh, I wish I had another little bit on it. Yeah. So I always go a little larger when I'm alone, kind of on this trip. But what I like to do is to I have a very good friend that doesn't live too far from here, from where I live, and I'll give him a call and say, listen, I'm alone tonight, do you have time? And he'll swing by, bring a bottle of champagne, and we, you know, kind of sit, eat the caviar, and then we move on to a little whiskey and cigar.
There we go. Sounds like my kind of evening.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you have something like a 125 gram tin and you don't finish it, can you put that back in the refrigerator?
You can. You don't leave it in the tin for more than 48 hours. You definitely, I mean, if I enjoy caviar tonight and I have a little bit remaining, leave the tin closed in the refrigerator. And the next morning, try the caviar. I think caviar in the morning is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And I guess that's because this is vacuum sealed. So the moment you break the vacuum, then that's whenever the countdown really starts on how quickly you should consume the caviar.
Exactly. Once the seal is broken, yeah, you have 24, 40 hours to consume your caviar. Before that, once you receive it, you have 8 weeks.
One of the questions, or one of the comments that we've seen quite frequently is, you know, expressing the general sentiment, you know, oh, you know, I could never afford caviar. I mean, most people, you know's perception of caviar is, you know, incredibly expensive. What are your thoughts on that? And, you know, I mean, you've got a lot of people that are probably interested but afraid, you know, that it's going to break the bank.
You're right. Caviar can be pretty scary at first, but caviar doesn't have to break the bank. It can if if that's what you're looking for, but it doesn't have to. I mean, you can be fairly reasonable and have a good caviar experience for around $40, $45. And I'm talking really a good experience where you have 3 different caviar in front of you and really enjoy your caviar for less than $50. Never be afraid to ask a question. There is nothing you can ask us that's going to sound, you know, dumb or anything like this. And it's be as open as you want. There is no question in caviar that's going to make you look ridiculous, or if you want to call us and ask us, you know, how much I should spend or how much we're here to really help you.
Well, you guys really approach customer service in that respect in a similar manner that we do, and that we encourage people to call and have a conversation with us. And
we love our customers.
You guys have a great website and a beautiful catalog, but really, my experience on the phone with Petrosian has been, you know, exceptional.
You know, we take very good pride into caring for our customers. You know, we strongly believe that a customer, you know, it's not a one-time thing. You know, we're here for the long run. So if you start buying from us, we really want to make sure that everything you get, you're very happy with. And you know, if a problem happens and if, you know, something goes wrong, we'd be more than happy to exchange anything. You know, it's really part of the experience. It's, you know, taking care of your customers, especially I think on the website, which, you know, can be a little less personal than you know, going to a store. I really think you need to give this personal touch of calling the person, or, you know,
And of course, you guys have the boutique in London.
Yes.
No,
No,
sorry.
not London.
Paris, New York.
Los Angeles. We have an outlet in the LAX airport, and we have a beautiful piano bar in the Bellagio. In any one of our boutique, you can would be more than happy to welcome you, to have you try some caviar, and really guide you into your caviar journey. So we wanted to show you the difference between a 50 gram and a 30 gram. 50 gram can sound fairly small, but it's actually fairly big amount of caviar. And the 30 gram is not also a fairly big amount of caviar. It's definitely enough to enjoy either alone or with your loved one and kind of have a taste for it.
Yeah, I mean, I liken it to, you know, just kind of opening a nice bottle of wine. I mean, you know, maybe it's a special occasion, you know, you're splurging a little bit more than you would otherwise, but it's still, you know, for, you know, less than $100, you can get a fine caviar in 50 or 30, 30 grams.
For sure, for sure. I strongly believe that life is a special moment anytime. You know, I think any day or every minute is a special moment. And caviar is one of those time marker that you know kind of puts a dot into a day or into a journey, and it becomes, you know, this evening where we had caviar. It's not any evening. It's this special evening that we have caviar.
Yeah, even if it's you know not 500 grams.
Exactly,
You know,
it doesn't have to be.
you don't need to drown yourself in it.
Exactly, it can be 10 grams. It's literally enough. There is no small amount. You know, like a cigar. You know, there's very short, very tiny, very big. You know, it's about your own preference. You know, what do you prefer? You prefer a large cigar? Great. If you prefer a smaller cigar, good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, just the mere occasion of enjoying a cigar makes it special.
Exactly, exactly.
So our next question is, are there different grades of caviar?
There is a lot of different grades of caviar. The grades kind of dictates how strong or how balanced your caviar is going to be.
Okay. What about, you know, you've got your grades that exist within each species, right? Or each, you know, what would you call it?
Species.
Species. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, kind of going broad, you know, within sturgeon, you know, the different species, and are those different quality grades also? Like, is a Cetra higher quality grade than a Kaluga hybrid, or?
It's actually a question that we get quite a bit. Species has nothing to do with quality. The species you choose is because of your own taste buds, what you prefer.
Flavor profile.
Flavor profile.
And texture a little bit too.
Yeah, texture a little bit too, but you know, an Osetra will always be a little nuttier than a Baika. A Baika will always be a little more balanced than a Dorenki, and it always plays on each other. If you're a first-time buyer, come to the boutique, call us, and we'll guide you through this process. It can be a little confusing at first, but it's fairly easy to go around.
And if you were to just send a tin of caviar to someone that you knew nothing of their preferences, it was the first time they were going to experience caviar, you know, what would you send them? Like, if it wasn't, you know, forget the grades, right? So,
Then
notwithstanding, like, which species would you?
Well, then I would do what I did to my son. My son loves caviar, and the first time he tried caviar was with the Baika, because it's a nice texture. It's a beautiful caviar to look at. The price is fairly reasonable, and the flavor profile is unbelievable. I would go first with this type of caviar, and then you know, I would go on maybe a Dorenki and kind of grow into it. But definitely start by a Baika or a Dorenki. That's what I would start with. And I'm telling you, when my son tried caviar for the first time, it was absolutely unbelievable. His whole face light up. You know, it was great.
I think that was just my same expression also the first time I tried it. Okay, so our next question is, what is the difference between the caviar grades?
So the grades are here to guide our customers towards some focal point that they would prefer into a caviar. For example, the royal caviar It's going to be briny and nutty, but on the stronger side. And the more you go up in grade, the more balanced your caviar is going to be. It's really about your own preference. I mean, some of my clients prefer the Royal, even if they could afford Special Reserve, they could afford any other caviar, they actually prefer the Royal, and that's what they want, that's what they buy, and that's what we give them. And some person, they rather eat caviar once every 5 years, but get the Special Reserve and really, go all out and spend a little more on it, but that's the one they want. And actually there is a very interesting couple that has been a customer of mine for the past 15 years. They come every 4 or 5 years, they take a 50 gram of Special Reserve, etc. And they call me, they're like, oh, it's time, and so I hand select it for them and all that. And it's very interesting, I often told them, for 1 tin of Special Reserve, you could get 3 or 4 of Royal, but that's what they want, that's what they prefer. So they wait, they save, and that's what they get.
Yeah, it's their special occasion.
Exactly, exactly, yeah.
Is there anything caviar should not be served with?
Definitely. You don't want to serve caviar with anything that's going to overpower the flavor. So no lemon, no capers, no onions, nothing that's going to hide or overpower the flavor of the caviar. You spent good money on a tin of caviar. You want to feel, you want to see what's inside. And you should never use silver to serve caviar. Caviar hates anything that's silver. And so you can use anything else, plastic, bone, metal, anything you want. No silver.
No silver. Okay. Silver plate or solid sterling.
Yeah.
Interesting. What about, if I was, I prefer my caviar with, kind of savory dishes, that are a little bit more filling. But if I was doing a small dinner, how would caviar be sequenced into that? Is it, could you serve it at the end, like your salad course with your cheeses, or would you serve it in the beginning? I
mean, the way, and again, it's very personal, it's my own preference. What I prefer would be to serve caviar. The first dish of the evening should be caviar, in my opinion, because you don't want to overpower the caviar with anything else before. So I would start by the caviar, let the caviar go around the table, and then maybe serve a little bit of smoked salmon, maybe a little bit of foie gras, maybe a little bit of to kind of complement this appetizer, and then go on to a meal. And it doesn't mean that the meal cannot have caviar in it. A lot of our customers would stay the whole evening around it and have a fish with a little bit of caviar on it, or have there's one of my good customers. He makes a delicious mashed potato, and he tops his mashed potato with caviar. And it sounds a little bizarre, but it's absolutely amazing.
And would he mix it in and kind of?
No, he would. So he has his own recipe. So he does half potato, a little bit of crème fraîche, basically it's half crème fraîche, half potato, and he will put a big dollop of caviar on top of it. So the mash is like this very beautiful white and this beautiful black caviar on top. It's a gorgeous dish, and it's delicious.
Wow, what a great presentation. So if someone was looking to, maybe begin approaching caviar, but they didn't have, the budget maybe say for the sturgeon, which is, traditional caviar. Are there any other fish eggs or kind of, cousins of the caviar family that, someone could play with?
Of course. Well, first there's the paddlefish. That's a cousin to the paddlefish. Yeah. Okay. That's a cousin to the sturgeon. But there's also a very great product that is a little bit not as known as the caviar. The salmon roe and the trout roe. Very enjoyable product. They have this beautiful orange pink color. The flavor is absolutely amazing. One of my favorite ways to eat them is just to do a beautiful lunch around it. You buy one of those big blinis, top it with crème fraîche, and dump a whole 50 gram of salmon roe on it, and kind of eat this like that. It's absolutely amazing. And the salmon roe are fairly reasonable in price. 50 gram of salmon roe, I think, is around $8 or $9.
Okay.
So fairly reasonable in price and absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Alex, thank you so much for kind of spending some time with us. Any kind of final thoughts just to leave us with on caviar?
I think the main thing to understand with caviar, it's you can't go wrong with it. As long as you follow what you love, you cannot go wrong. If you don't want to spend too much, get the salmon roe, trout roe, or a cheaper caviar. If you want to spend a fortune, you can too, but you don't have to. And except eating your caviar with silver, you can't really screw this up. It's very easy to enjoy. And if you don't enjoy it, give us a call, and we'll be happy to help you out.
Yeah, one of the things that I guess has been my experience is that especially with such a high quality caviar as the Petrosen caviar, really eat it alone with a plastic spoon and some champagne. And some nice music, and that's all you need.
That's all you need.
You almost don't want to overcomplicate it. The creme fraiche, the chives, the capers, the lemon. For one, it's a lot of work to chop all that stuff off. Yeah. But second, if you've got great caviar, it doesn't add anything.
You don't need it. It's a lot of work. You don't need it, and it actually takes away from the experience. I think a good caviar is standalone product. You open it, enjoy it, drink your champagne, and you're done.
Yeah, great. Hey, well, Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If anyone else has any other questions, feel free to get in touch with Alex directly here at Petrosen, Petrosen.com.
Definitely.
And then, sign up for their catalog. It's one of the most beautiful catalogs. I enjoy receiving it in the mail. You guys send it out 4 times a year.
Yep.
If this is the first video you're watching on caviar on our YouTube channel, make sure you check out our entire mini-series that we filmed with Alex, really kind of diving into the exclusive world of caviar. And of course, if you have questions, make sure you ask them in the comments section below. We get back to all those questions personally, and I think Alex is actually going to be giving away some samples to some people that have been asking questions. So, take that as an opportunity to ask some questions. And who knows, you might have a surprise showing up. So thanks for joining us. I'm Kirby Allison.
I'm Alex.
This is Alex, and we love helping the well-dressed take care of their wardrobes and enjoy the finer things in life. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe to our channel and turn on your notifications by clicking the bell to the right of the subscribe button so that you can learn whenever we release new videos. If you have any questions or comments about anything we discussed on this video, please ask them in the comments section below. And of course, please visit hangerproject.com, where we have the largest, most comprehensive collection of luxury garment care and shoe care accessories in the world, as well as many other incredible products for the well-dressed. And while you are there, subscribe to our newsletter to receive notifications of new product launches, promotions, as well as a weekly digest of all the videos we publish here on our YouTube channel.